Are you familiar with that sharp, almost painful feeling? When you're moving forward, discovering new worlds, reading self-development books, attending trainings, immersing yourself in spiritual practices, feeling how your consciousness is changing. And your man seems to be frozen in time, as if stuck on some old dusty shelf of his life. And it's as if an invisible wall, or maybe even a chasm, is growing between you. Does this irritate you? Upset you? Or maybe frighten you? What if I tell you something shocking? That all your attempts to stir him up, inspire him, or bring him up to your level are the surest and quickest way to kill both your relationship and, oddly enough, your own further growth. Today, we are touching on a very sensitive and relevant topic for many, especially for women striving for development. The situation where you are actively growing, spiritually, personally, and professionally, while your partner, your man, seems to be lagging behind or not wanting to move in the same direction with you. This generates a multitude of complex feelings, from quiet disappointment and irritation to loud arguments, resentment, and even the fear of losing a loved one or being left alone on your path. You are used to looking at this from the perspective of, what is wrong with him? How can I change him? But today, I offer you a completely different angle. We will look at this situation not through the eyes of a psychologist who will advise on how to communicate properly or motivate. We will look at it through the prism of how our energy works, our subconscious, our brain, inspired by the ideas of consciousness researchers like Dispenza and other scientists studying the connection between thought and reality. Let me say right away, I will not offer you a magic wand, with a wave of which, your man will rush to sign up for a retreat, or start reading quantum physics tomorrow. No. But I will show you where your personal control panel for this seemingly external situation actually is. And yes, what you hear may provoke an internal protest, disagreement, even anger. And that's absolutely normal. It means we are touching on deep habitual programs. Let's be honest with ourselves, start figuring it out, and most importantly, discuss it together at the end. Ready to dive in? So, what are you usually advised to do when you complain to friends or even psychologists about a partner who isn't growing? Let's list the most popular pieces of advice. Inspire him with your example. It sounds beautiful, but often turns into silent judgment and expectation. When will you notice how I've changed and want the same? Have a serious talk with him. Explain how important it is to you. This often devolves into accusations. You don't support me. You're not interested in anything, which only triggers a defensive reaction or a sense of guilt in him. Find an approach to him, motivate him. This turns you into a mother or a coach for an adult man who didn't ask for it. It drains your energy. Sign him up for a workshop. Slip him the right book. Blatant manipulation that almost always provokes resistance. Well, what can you do? Endure it or leave. Polar options that do not solve the root of the problem, but merely state it. Familiar, isn't it? Now honestly, how many of you have these methods truly helped in the long run? Most often, one of two things happens. Either the man starts to close off even more and resist this pressure, or you yourself burn out, exhausted by these endless attempts to change another person. Why? Because all these pieces of advice stem from one fundamental mistake. They are based on the belief that the problem lies with him, and your task is to fix him. This is a position of control. This is a position of superiority. I am growing, and you are not. And almost always behind this lies your own fear of being alone, being misunderstood, losing him. Men, like all people, intuitively pick up on this energy of pressure, control, judgment, and fear. And their natural reaction is to defend themselves, to close off, to retreat into their cave. You are knocking on a closed door, trying to break it down, instead of finding the key. Right now, recall your attempts to influence your partner in terms of development. What did you do? And what was the result? share later in the comments. This is very important for our mutual understanding. Let's summarize, briefly. Standard methods of trying to change a partner often don't work, because they are based on control, judgment, and fear, which only provoke resistance and exhaust you. Now, let's turn the picture around. The key to changing the situation lies not in him, but in you. Not in what he does or doesn't do, but in how you react to it, and what state you create within yourself. So the first and most important idea to grasp is that your strong emotional experience regarding his lack of development is not just a reaction to external events. It is a powerful signal, a marker, pointing to your own internal programs, fears, and beliefs. When it bothers you that he's lying on the couch while you're reaching for the stars, ask yourself honestly, what exactly is bothering me? Not the mere fact of watching TV, but what does it represent for me? What fear is activated in me at this moment? The fear of being left alone, because we will become too different. The fear that he is not worthy of me? The fear that I'm wasting my best years on him. The fear of being judged by my friends. How can you live with someone like that? What deep-seated belief about myself or relationships does this reveal? Love must be earned through mutual growth. If a partner doesn't develop, it means he doesn't love or value me. I must save or change him. A man should be stronger and more successful than a woman. Being spiritual and living with an ordinary man is wrong or shameful. Example: Samantha constantly nagged her husband John for playing computer games after work instead of reading the business books she gave him. It drove her mad. When she started to honestly figure it out, it turned out that behind it was her panic fear of poverty and the belief that a real man should constantly earn more. John, on the other hand, was quite satisfied with his stable job and salary, and computer games were his way to relax. What annoyed her was not his hobby, but her own fear, and her expectations that he did not meet. Do you understand? His behavior is just a trigger. The pain is within you. And it's not the trigger that needs healing, but the wound it presses on. The man here acts as a mirror, very accurately highlighting your unconscious patterns. Until you see and change these patterns, you will find yourself in similar situations over and over again, possibly with different men, but with the same result. Let's summarize briefly. Your strong reaction to your partner's lack of development is a signal of your own fears and limiting beliefs. The focus should not be on changing him, but on exploring and transforming your internal reaction. Let's go deeper. Joe Dispenza and other researchers say that we are constantly emitting energy, a certain vibration or frequency. This frequency is determined by our dominant emotional state. What we feel most of the time creates our energy field. Now imagine, when you look at your non-developing man, what emotions do you experience most often? Irritation, judgment. How can it be like this? Superiority. I'm the one growing. Resentment. I'm trying, and he doesn't care. Fear. A sense of injustice. The desire to control. All these are quite low vibrations, heavy energies. And what happens according to the law of attraction, which works on an energetic level? Like attracts like. By emitting a frequency of dissatisfaction and judgment, you unconsciously amplify in him the behavior that irritates you. He senses your disapproval and either defends himself, withdraws, snaps back, or subconsciously fulfills your expectations. Oh, you think I'm a lazy slob? Well, then that's what I'll be. You attract even more situations into your life that confirm your correctness. You will notice more and more signs of his degradation. The universe will seemingly provide you with evidence of your own beliefs. Recall Dispenza's concept of the thought-feeling connection. You think, he's doing nothing again. This thought causes a feeling of irritation. The feeling of irritation generates new thoughts. He will never change. Everything is useless. This cycle locks you into a certain state, a certain body chemistry, a certain energetic signature. You literally become a walking dissatisfaction towards him. And what do you think can be attracted to such a state? Certainly not joyful mutual development. Example: Vanessa constantly thought about how her husband Bruce was lagging behind her spiritually. She felt lonely in her pursuits, and somewhat pitied herself, resenting him for being so down to earth. The more she focused on this, the more Bruce withdrew, started to mock her sect-like quirks, and the gap between them grew. With her energy of resentment and slight disdain, she herself was pushing him away. Let's summarize briefly. Your dominant emotions towards the situation create an energy field that either amplifies the partner's undesirable behavior or attracts confirmation of your negative expectations. You get stuck in a thought-feeling cycle that shapes your reality. So where is the way out? It's in the same place as the entrance, within you. The true power, the real magic of transformation is not in making him change, but in consciously choosing and cultivating your own state of being. What does this mean in practice? Stop focusing on what he is not doing. Consciously shift your attention from his shortcomings to something else. Start creating and experiencing the feelings you want to have in your life, right now. Not, when he changes, I will be happy. But I choose to feel joy, fulfillment, interest, gratitude, love for myself and the world right now, regardless of what he does or doesn't do. Direct the energy you spent worrying about him towards your own growth, your interests, your pleasure. Engage in what ignites you. Dance, paint, learn something new, meet with friends, travel, even if it's just around your city. Enjoy yourself. Dispenza's idea is that the quantum field, the universe, reality, whatever you call it, responds not so much to your words or even thoughts, but to your state of being, to your energetic signature. When you become a person who lives in the joy of self-sufficiency, but so self-love, you begin to emit a completely different frequency. You shift from survival mode, where you need to control, fear, fix, to a mode of creation, where you can stop being a victim of circumstances. He is holding me back. And become the cause of your reality. I create my own joy and growth. You shift the focus from saving him to creating your desired life through your inner state. Example: the same Vanessa from the previous example, tired of the struggle, decided to follow the advice to focus on herself. She stopped waiting for Bruce, went to yoga classes she had long wanted, started going to the pool, and resumed meeting with friends. She consciously learned to enjoy her life. She wasn't pretending to be happy. She genuinely found sources of joy for herself. She stopped radiating neediness and dissatisfaction. A couple of months later, Bruce himself asked her why she was glowing and what she was doing in yoga. He didn't immediately start meditating, but the ice was broken. The tension disappeared, and he became warmer. Let's summarize briefly. Your strength lies in the ability to consciously choose and cultivate your inner state, joy, self-worth, and interest, regardless of your partner's behavior. By shifting the focus to creating your desired reality through your state, you change your energetic signature and begin to influence reality in a new way. So, now we know. Instead of trying to change a man, you need to first, realize that your reaction is a signal about your internal programs. Second, understand that your dominant negative state attracts and amplifies the problem. Third, start consciously cultivating the desired state of being, joy, and self-worth within yourself, independent of him, directing energy towards your growth and pleasure. And this is where it gets most interesting. When you truly change your internal state, your energy, the reality around you begins to change. In relationships, this can manifest in two main ways. First option: when you stop emitting neediness, control, judgment, fear, and start genuinely vibrating at the frequency of joy, self-sufficiency, and engagement with your life, something amazing happens. your new energy becomes attractive. A man who previously felt pressured and closed off may suddenly feel your warmth, your lightness, your inner strength. He may not realize what has happened, but on an energetic level, he will feel the changes. He might become more interested in being around you. He might start asking questions. He might see that you are happy on your own. And this could awaken in him the desire to also change something in his life, to match your new energy, to be closer to this source of light and joy. The key word is without expectations. This can happen as a side effect of your inner work, not as its goal. You are doing this for yourself. If he catches up, wonderful. If not, then there will be option 2. But he may change, not because you forced him or inspired him with lectures, but because your new essence attracted him. The second option. And it may also happen that as you change and raise your vibrations, you truly begin to feel more and more that your paths with your partner are diverging. Your interests, values, and pace of life become too different. And this is not a tragedy. If you have done the inner work, if you have found support within yourself, a sense of self-worth, then this divergence can happen much more calmly and harmoniously than if you were parting from a state of resentment, anger, and mutual accusations. You can come to a mutual understanding that each is going their own way, and that's okay. You can let each other go, with gratitude for the stage you went through together. Yes, the very thought of parting terrifies many to the core, especially at an age when it seems frightening to start all over again. But ask yourself the question, what is truly scarier? To live another 10, 20, 30 years in quiet or loud discontent next to a person with whom you are no longer connected by anything but habit and the fear of loneliness? Or to take the risk of following your soul, your growth, even if it means going through a period alone, but in harmony with yourself, living according to your truth, or in comfortable lies? From a state of inner wholeness and self-love, the answer becomes obvious. Let's summarize briefly. By changing your internal state to a positive and self-sufficient one, you either create conditions for your partner to naturally align with your new energy, or you reach the possibility of a harmonious parting of ways, if your vibrations become too different. But you do this from a place of strength, not weakness. I can literally feel how some of your minds are boiling right now, and objections are rising. Let's voice the most common ones. Isn't it pure selfishness to ignore your husband and focus only on yourself? Answer. And what isn't selfishness? Trying to change an adult to fit your expectations? Wasting his and your time on dissatisfaction and control? Focusing on your own state is not selfishness, it's responsibility. Responsibility for your own happiness, for the energy you bring into the world and into relationships. From a fulfilled state, you can give much more than from a state of need and resentment. But what about love, family? Aren't we supposed to be together, in both sorrow and joy? Answer. Love is not an attempt to mold your partner into your ideal. Love is acceptance. Family is a union of two people who choose to be together. But if one of them is constantly unhappy and blames the other, trying to change them, where is the love and joy in that? Sometimes the most loving act is to allow yourself and the other to be themselves, even if it means going separate ways. So, should I just silently watch as he deteriorates, drinks beer, and plays games? Answer. Firstly, the word deteriorates is already your judgment, your condemnation. Secondly, it's not about silently enduring what is absolutely unacceptable to you. It's about shifting the focus from judgment and powerless anger to your own state and choices. You can always choose whether to stay in this situation, but this choice should not be made from a victim's perspective, blaming him, but from a position of strength and understanding why you ended up at this point, and what reality you want to create for yourself moving forward. Your task is not to judge him, but to choose your own vibration. Let's summarize briefly. Objections often stem from old programs of fear, guilt, and the need for control. A new perspective offers responsibility instead of selfishness, acceptance instead of alteration, and choosing your own vibration instead of judgment. I understand that this topic is deep, complex, and ambiguous. It uncovers a lot of pain and many habitual thought patterns. There are no simple yes or no answers that suit absolutely everyone here. And that's precisely why I want to invite you to the most honest and open discussion possible. Please write in the comments if you recognized your situation. How does it specifically manifest for you? Which of the standard methods have you tried to motivate your partner? What did it lead to? Share your experience. How close or, on the contrary, foreign is the idea to you that our internal state, our energy, attracts the behavior of a partner and situations in life? Do you believe in this? Or do you think that the responsibility lies entirely on him or on external circumstances? Are you ready to try shifting the focus from changing the man to working on your own state, your reactions and fears? What attracts you to this and what scares you? What is the most challenging aspect of this concept for you? What do you categorically disagree with? What other questions have arisen for you? Let's create a real space here for exchanging opinions, experiences, support, and even debates. Don't be afraid to express your point of view, even if it differs from mine, or the majority's opinion. I am incredibly interested to know what you think and feel about this. Your feedback is invaluable. And now, to make everything settle and become a bit more practical, let's summarize the main conclusion, and outline the first steps. The main conclusion. Your reality, including the dynamics in relationships, is a reflection of your internal state and dominant vibrations. To change the external, start changing the internal. Your focus, your reactions, your feelings. Stop waiting for changes from your partner. Become the change yourself. Practical steps. Where to start right today. Awareness of triggers. Begin, without judgment, to track the moments when your partner's behavior particularly affects you. Ask yourself, what feeling am I experiencing? What fear is behind it? What belief of mine has been activated? Just observe. Choosing a new feeling. When you catch yourself in a habitual negative reaction, irritation, resentment, take a pause. Ask yourself, how would I like to feel instead? Joyful, calm, confident. Try to consciously evoke this new feeling in yourself for at least a minute. Remember something good. Play your favorite music. Take a couple of deep breaths. Focus on your joy. Dedicate at least 15 to 30 minutes a day to something that brings you personal pleasure, regardless of your partner. Reading, hobbies, walking, bathing, meditation, anything that fills you up. Make it your priority. An advanced step. Try practicing gratitude. Every day, notice 3 to 5 things you are grateful for in your life in general, not necessarily related to your partner. This powerfully changes vibrations. Guidance. The path of self-transformation is not always easy and quick. There will be setbacks, doubts, and days when old habits win. That's normal. Be kind and patient with yourself. You are not required to change in one day, but every small step towards mindfulness, towards choosing your state, is a huge contribution to your future, to the reality you truly want to create for yourself. You are the creator of your life. Remember this. And act out of love for yourself. So, the main takeaway I wanted to convey today is, if you feel like you are outgrowing your partner and suffering because of it, perhaps the most effective path is not through trying to change them, but through deep work on yourself, your reactions, fears, beliefs, and most importantly, your energetic state. By shifting the focus to yourself and cultivating joy, self-worth, and interest in your own life, You initiate powerful transformation processes that can change both your relationships and your reality in the most unexpected ways. If this video made you think, resonated with you, seemed useful, or even just angered you and made you argue, then it has achieved its goal. Please give it a like. This will help other women find this video. And, of course, subscribe to the channel if you want more of such deep, honest analyses of topics like relationships, self-esteem, working with the subconscious and energy through the lens of modern knowledge about human potential. Thank you so much for watching until the end and for being with me in this challenging conversation. I greatly appreciate your time and attention, and I eagerly await your comments.